Okay, so we're going to start with some core concepts, some basics, where to find X-Particles objects and the different ways to add them to your scene. The most traditional, I would suggest, is from this top menu here, and you can see we have a dedicated X-Particles menu, and if I click on it, you'll see we have everything that we need to create particle systems. We have emitters, generators, modifiers, things like that. So if I click on something, I can add an emitter, for instance, just adds it to the scene, just like any other C4D object. I can go in and add modifiers and so on. Also in this menu, you can find the administrative stuff, so the updater, the about, changing your serial numbers, reporting bugs, not that there are ever any bugs, and also the support pages, direct links to the Insidium X-Particles support pages. The second way to add objects to your scene is via a palette, which conveniently you can create from the X-Particles menu. And you can see we have this load palette icon here, and if I just click that, it'll load palette in, but I want to customize it first, so I click on the cogwheel. And I can see here we have an unfolded menu or a folded. We can change the icon size. We can have icons and text. I want icons and text, and I want it to be everything else to be the same. So I'm going to click OK, and you'll see it loads in a nice X-Particles palette. And I can obviously dock that. I'll dock it on the side of my viewport, and I can scroll using middle mouse up and down. And yeah, I can add X-Particles objects as much as I like. That's very convenient, and I quite like this method. It's more permanent, and you can save it into your layout. A third way to add objects to your scene is probably my favorite one, and that's to use Cinema 4D's Commander tool. Default, that is Shift-C, and it will bring up this menu here, or this search box. And you just start typing in what command you're looking for. Conveniently, the guys at X-Particles, Insidium, have created every object with this prefix of lowercase xp, and that's all I need to type in to start with. So I start typing xp, and you can start to see it filters lots of X-Particles objects. And then I can carry on if I want to add an emitter, xpe, and there we go. I hit enter, and it adds it to my scene. Say I want to carry on, so I'll add an xp turbulence modifier, and that's a really quick way to just add objects that you're looking for. You don't have to dig through menus if you don't want to, and it's definitely my preferred method. Now, the fourth and final way of adding objects to your scene is probably an equal favorite, and that's using the XP system object. So if I just add it to the scene, now I'm going to talk about the XP system object later on in the series, a bit more detail about how it's an organizational tool. But for now, I'm just going to show you how it can add objects to your scene. So with it selected, I can go down here and look at its parameters. And you can see that we have this section called Add XP Objects, which is self-explanatory. You can add XP objects from here. And so I'm going to click on an emitter. So I click on Choose Generator, click Emitter, and it adds it to our system object in the emitters null. So it's organizing it as well as adding it and selecting it in your scene. Now I can keep going back up and doing that with another thing. Say I'm going to add a wind modifier. So I add a wind modifier. There you go. It gets placed in the modifiers null and gets selected, so I can start playing with the parameters. If I want to quickly add a bunch of objects, but I don't want to have to keep going back up to my XP system object, I can hold down Command or Control when I'm adding the object, and it won't select the object. It'll keep us on this top level system. So if I hold down Control, I click Emitter, and you can see it adds it without selecting it, and then I can carry on adding more modifiers or more things without having to leave this top level system object. Now, the system object not only allows you to add them from the top level, but it also allows you to add stuff from these nulls. So if I clear those out, get rid of a few of these things, and I can click on these nulls, and you'll see they also have these convenient buttons. So it's possibly quicker than going to the system object itself. If you know that you're just adding an emitter, you just click on the emitter, and then you click Create Emitter with that quick button there. Go down to the modifiers, similar thing. You've got your drop downs for all your modifiers. So I add a direction modifier, and there you go. Really convenient, and it keeps things organized as you build your systems up. And that's that for where to find X-Particles objects and how to add them to your scene. One small note at the end is that materials aren't found in these menus. They are found in the material manager of Cinema 4D. So you just go to your Create menu here, go to Shader, and then down here you'll see X-Particles Gaseous or X-Particles Material.